Hi there, Paul Snyder, Programming Coordinator for Northwest Access TV. I'm joined today by Jerry Johnson he's Education Coordinator for Marine Patrol, VSP.
Correct, Vermont State Police Marine Division, correct.
We're here to talk about boating safety. This time of year, everyone's out on the water, so we're here to just talk about how to stay safe on the water when you're in your boat, and even when you're not the one driving, when you're the one just having fun on the boat and passengers. So thank you very much, Mr. Johnson, for joining us today.
You're welcome. Like I said, I am the Education Coordinator. My responsibilities as the Education Coordinator is to coordinate a statewide program of boating safety. Since 1991, the state of Vermont enacted a law for mandatory education. Any person born after January 1st, 1974 is required to take a boating safety course if they operate any motorboat in the state of Vermont. And a motorboat is anything with a motor on it. It could be something as simple as a canoe with an electric trolling motor on it. Once you put a motor on a vessel or on a boat, it's considered a motorboat, regardless of the type of propulsion or the amount of horsepower. So these persons born after January 1st, 1974 are required to have this boating safety course, and that's what I'm all about. I coordinate the entire program around the state for boating safety, and we teach 8-hour boating safety courses, as well as we have a course that's available on the internet. So it's very convenient, especially in a state like Vermont. It's very rural, and we need to have that access to be able to have people to comply with the law, and we do. You can go onto the state police website, and I'll probably repeat it more than once during this program, but it's VSP, which is the abbreviation for Vermont State Police, .Vermont. You need to spell out the word Vermont, and then .gov. That will get you onto the state police website, and then what you would need to do is look in the left-hand margin, click on Marine Division. Once you do that, you're on our boating safety wedge page, which you have a whole array of boating safety information, including the access to our internet course. There's a schedule of boating safety courses, classroom courses that we hold, and also a PDF version of our handbook, which is has very valuable information for boating safety here in the state of Vermont.
Now, you're saying that you have the 8-hour course, and you also have an online version as well, or is it in conjunction with it?
We have both. No, we have both, and that's for the simple reason, like I said, Vermont is such a rural state, and we can't offer courses in every corner of the state simply because there's not enough people that we can get to participate to justify a classroom course. Okay. We usually require that we have at least 10 people signed up to hold a class. So when we don't get that, we need to be able to provide these persons a way to comply with the law. So we have this internet course, and actually we find that quite a few people use it. Very convenient. You can sign into it from your home. You sign in with a username and password. You don't have to stay on the internet the whole time. You can sign on and sign off with that password.
Save your progress.
Save your progress. Exactly correct. Exactly right. And once you don't pay until you pass the course.
Okay.
And then once you pass the course, the information comes to us from the provider, because it's not a state provider, it's a private provider. The information comes to us, and then we in turn create a boating safety card, and we put you into our database, and that will actually guarantee that you will have, or almost guarantee I should say, have a record of boating safety with the state basically for the rest of your life. If you should lose your card or it should get destroyed, you can apply for a new one at no cost to you.
Okay. Now this might be a silly question, but this is completely different than a boating license, correct?
Well, no. People call it a boating license.
Okay.
In all actuality, it's a boating safety certification card.
Okay.
However, people do refer to it as a boating license.
Gotcha.
Simply because, in all actuality, you can't. If you're born after January 1st, 74, you can't operate a motorboat without it. Okay. If you do, you're actually in violation of the law.
Now, we talked a little bit about this beforehand, that it was 74. This was started in 91.
Yeah, July 1st.
We're talking for like people that at that point 16 and older. But now it's a lot different. Now, I mean, it's a wider range.
Oh, absolutely.
But now you still have the older generation. They don't, if they wanted to go out and drive a boat and they were born before 74, they don't have to worry about it.
No, they're what we call grandfathered. If they're born before January 1st, 1974, those persons are grandfathered, and unfortunately they're not required to have any training, and that's where we run into a problem. So we try to get out our the boating safety information as much as possible. We talk to all our boat dealers here in Vermont. We also have connections with anybody that supplies basically merchandise for the marine industry, and we try to get the information out as much as possible to let people know, what's required and such. They can also access the U.S. Coast Guard boating safety website at any point in time and find out almost the same information. I mean, there's some differences, but most states mirror what the federal requirements are. So the Coast Guard has the federal requirements out there, and they've had them in place for quite a long time.
Okay. Yeah. Now, we have a boating certification, boating safety certification. Does it ever have to be renewed?
No. Once you take the course,
it's not like a driver's license where every few years or whatever you have to.
No, you don't.
That you still,
No, not required to get renewed. It's good. Once you take the safety course, once you have that certification, it's good for life. Okay. You don't have to take another course. Also, the state of Vermont, you don't have to take the particular Vermont course. Of course, we like people, we're a vacation state, we're a vacation destination. Lake Champlain is a beautiful place to boat. We don't prohibit anybody from coming in the state. In the boating laws of Vermont, we accept any boating safety course that is nationally approved. And the national approval is called the NASBLA, and most commonly referred to as NASBLA. It's the National Association of State Boating Law Administrators, have set a national education standard which we follow and which most states follow. I don't know of any state that doesn't. And every state has a boating safety course, so everybody can comply in their own state, bring their safety card here, just like, if they were coming in with their out-of-state driver's license. And we accept it here. It's reciprocal. Great. So these people don't have to specifically take the Vermont course as long as they have a nationally approved course. Also, there's other organizations that teach a basic boating safety course that are approved. There's the U.S. Power Squadron, Coast Guard Auxiliary. These people teach boating safety courses also, and they comply with the national standards. So those courses are also accepted.
Okay. So. I saw that on your website, the Marine Division does a lot with the U.S. Coast Guard as well. Can you go a little detail into how you guys are partnered in a way?
Oh, absolutely. We are very, as you could say, I think we're connected at the hip, really. We get our funding through the Coast Guard. There's a boating safety grant that was developed years ago, and this boating safety grant is a federal grant that was established by the federal government and is actually monitored by the U.S. Coast Guard. The Coast Guard Office of Boating Safety monitors this funding, and each state gets a portion of the funding depending upon how many boats they register. Okay. So the amount of registered boats really equates to how much money we receive for boating safety dollars, which pays for our marine patrol. We have that pays for our boats. It supports our boating safety program, our materials, our instructors. So it works very well. And like I said, we're pretty well connected at the hip. One of our boats is actually at the Coast Guard station here in Burlington. We've had a boat there ever since I can remember. And our Marine Patrol, by the way, has been in existence since 1959. Oh, wow. We've been around quite a long time, and very well established.
When you have a population that's on the water, it's that's definitely one thing you're going to want to have.
Exactly.
Especially in existence for that long.
Exactly. I mean, we have a ton of small bodies of water in the state, but Lake Champlain is our big attraction, and we have at least 4 large boats of in the 24-foot range that patrol the lake on any given day. This boat is from up north here in the islands. We have another boat at the Coast Guard station. We have another boat way down south in Point Bay Marina. Mm-hmm. So we're spread out, and plus we have other trailable boats that we can have any place on the lake in a matter of minutes because of their being able to be trailered a lot faster to move from boating access to boating access rather than try to move over the water a little bit slower.
Let's talk a little bit of statistics.
Sure.
Since this boating safety course and has been enacted, what are we looking at for safety statistics?
Well, I can tell you that we just did some research, and it's my job to since I've been with the department. I've been with the department since 1995 and been with the Marine Division since 1995. It's been my job to gather all the information about boating accidents and actually report it to the U.S. Coast Guard. It's actually a requirement of our boating safety grant. We have a boating safety grant from the Coast Guard, and part of the grant parameters is that we report all of our accidents, and we actually report them in very large detail. I mean, we have there's a lot of detail to it. There's a boating safety database. It's called BARD, a boating accident reporting database that the Coast Guard has developed, and it's my job to enter all the statistics into this database, and every year they compile this information. Over the last 10 years, we've had 11 fatalities. Wow. So that's, about, one per year, which is not very high at all. And we attribute that to our education, because our education has been the mainstay, if you will, since 1991. Like I said, since 1991, we've really promoted the program. The materials are out there. We attend a lot of shows. We definitely attend the biggest or the main boat show here in the state of Vermont is down in Essex Junction. Okay. Every year, every February, March, we are there promoting a boating safety program. We are connected to the U.S. Power Squadron here in Vermont. We're connected to the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, and of course, like we already talked about, the active duty Coast Guard station down in Burlington. We're definitely affiliated with them, and actually anybody that's on the water. Colchester has their own Marine Patrol. We're very well connected with them. We actually sub-grant them. We give them monies for boating safety. Okay. Also, our Fish and Wildlife people, our game wardens are out there doing fish and wildlife and checking on fishing licenses and things. Well, in conjunction with that, they're also working with us with boating safety, checking people for making sure they have the right amount of life jackets and things like that, and that they're being safe out there. Okay.
Yeah. When we get to, we're talking about 11, just to go back a little bit, we're talking about 11 fatalities in 10 years. Is any of that attributed to things that could have been prevented, whether it was, with a life jacket, or are we talking like it was just a boat-on-boat accident?
I can tell you that from my experience and going over the details of each accident, that it's basically, definitely could have been prevented. There's no question about it. Most of these people say, well, it was just an accident. Well, yes, but that accident could have been prevented. You look at all the details of the report, and most of the time we do get a very detailed report, because when it's a fatality, it's the job of the Vermont State Police, especially our detective division, to investigate. Also, our scuba team goes out, and if these persons end up drowning, our scuba team are the experts that go out and recover the bodies. Unfortunately, that's what we have to do. But when we do that, of course, we end up getting all the details, which is good. So we find that yes, they could be prevented. And I got to tell you, the best prevention that anybody could have is wearing their life jacket.
So let's talk a little bit about that. You have a car that you drive around, and it is completely decked out.
Yes.
Everything about saving a life, wear a life jacket.
Correct.
Let's go a little more in detail.
Yes, there's a national campaign out there. They call it Wear It. Wear It campaign is basically, it's been around for quite a few years. It's been at least 10 years. And the whole idea is to get people to wear their life jackets. If nothing else, wear your life jacket. It's the single most thing anybody can do to save their life out there, because you never know when you're going to end up in the water. I mean, you can get thrown overboard, and this happens 9 times out of 10. This is how people end up in the water, and they drown. They don't have their life jacket on. They end up in the water when they don't expect to, and they, even if they are swimmers, some of these, the strong current, the wind, the waves, could take you down pretty fast.
And you compared it to wearing your seatbelt.
Exactly.
You don't know when an accident is going to happen.
Exactly. Wearing a seat. It's mandatory to wear a seatbelt in a car. Unfortunately, it's not in a boat, except for persons under 12 years of age. Here in the state of Vermont, anybody under 12 years of age, while the boat is underway, they have to wear it. Anybody operating a personal watercraft, which is something like a jet ski, they're required to wear it. Or someone on a sailboard that's under the age of 16. So those those are the only three times when people are required to wear it. Other than that, persons are only required to have it readily accessible. In other words, be able to get to it quick enough. But like I said, most of the time when people end up in the water, it happens very quickly, and they don't have even time to grab their life jacket. So this is why we talk about, please wear your life jacket. I mean, it's the single most important thing you could do to save your life.
I might be part of that younger generation that, you know, growing up, like our parents always had life jackets on us. Like I take if I take a kayak out, I'm wearing a life jacket. If I'm on a boat, I'm wearing, and like I don't even think twice about it. It's like, oh, I'm taking that. I need that. So I mean, it shows that education is working. That you know, the parents today are like, we're keeping our kids safe, and we're having them, you know, put their life jackets on.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that's good. It's great, and we have seen an increase in that. But our single most violations each year, our Marine Patrol, we of course we tally up our violations each year, and there's two violations that we see that unfortunately are most popular. One of them is the lack of either the lack of life jackets or the lack of proper life jackets, and this is what our tickets are written for. Also, we have here in the state of Vermont, we have what we call a distance requirement. If you're within 200 feet of anything, basically the shoreline, a dock, a person in the water, another vessel, you need to be going less than 5 miles an hour and not creating a wake. So some people are not aware of that, and I don't. Sometimes what we find is it's hard for people to judge what 200 feet is, but you must, when you're out in the water, you have to give people a lot of room. You know, don't be going fast when you're too close to anything. You need to slow down.
And I guess that's one of the misconceptions, because you see, you know, open water, you're like, oh, I want to go fast now. You know, I'm in the boat and I want to have fun, stuff like that. But yeah, being considerate of people around you.
Exactly.
How far really they seem to be. So,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, we see we have, you know, one of your Marine Patrol boats here. Is there any chance we can get a little tour?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that now then.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so we're at Hathaway Point in St. Albans still, and we're here again with Jerry Johnson. We're here at their Marine Patrol boat, and we're just going to get a little tour about it. So take it away. About a boat.
Yeah, so one of our Marine Patrol boats is actually one of the main vessels. As you can see, we actually call it Marine One. It's all our single-digit numbers are our largest vessels, Marine 1 through Marine 7. They're all of about the 20-foot, 24-foot range. I said this is one of our main patrol vessels. It's stationed out of Grand Isle. We dock it up in Grand Isle. We get it on the water. It's on the water mostly every day, especially even a day like today. First, we had a little bit of clouds, but our people are on the water every day. We're out patrolling. Our job is boating safety. That's our main objective. We are also out here to assist the Coast Guard if there is a search and rescue or someone needs help in the area, and we are there. We do answer the call. We stay in direct contact with the Coast Guard station in Burlington at all times when we're underway, so that if there is some sort of problem or out on the water, we can respond to it for them. Since they're down in Burlington, their response time would be a lot longer, so we're able to get there quicker if we're in the area. And like I said, our main focus is boating safety. We're out on the water to make sure that people abide by the law and are boating safely and are having a safe time. Having the proper amount of life jackets is one of the most important things, like I said, and I reiterate that time and time again in our boating safety course and actually everywhere we go. But our Marine, like I said, our Marine Patrol officers are on the water every day. Unless it's very inclement weather, then they're not out there. But if they need to be, they will be. And
is this for the boat? Is it a spring, summer, fall type of patrolling?
It's a boating season patrolling. Absolutely. Our boating season here in Vermont, for whatever other reason, it's Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Pretty much.
You know, the end of May to the beginning of September. What we find, because of our weather here in Vermont, we find that people, you know, they kind of rush to get their boats in by Memorial Day, and then after Labor Day, they're in a kind of a rush to get it out, because by the time October rolls around, as you well know, I've been here long enough, the weather can turn on you so quickly, and then you wouldn't be able to get your boat out of the water. So for those people who keep their boats at marinas and things like that, they try to schedule to get their boats out of the water. So our boating season is June, July, and August mainly. Okay. As short as it is, it's still very good. We have on Lake Champlain, we get a lot of fishing tournaments up here. There is a lot of boating traffic on the water, and you'll see as soon as the sun comes out, the boating traffic picks up tremendously.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, in the inclement weather, no, it'll start out slow, but like a day like today, as soon as the sun starts coming out, people are on the water. I mean, they're using their boats because of such a short period of time for the boating season.
Yeah, case in point, right here.
Case in point, right here. Yeah, here's a gentleman with a fishing boat. Yeah. You know, he wants to get out on the water and use his boat and do some fishing. So
he's got himself a life jacket as well.
Absolutely, yeah, wearing his life jacket. Yeah, those are an inflatable jacket. Doesn't look like the common jacket. These inflatable life jackets have just been basically approved by the Coast Guard within the last 10 years, and they're becoming more and more popular because they're very comfortable to wear, and when you need them, of course, they're there. You're already on you. They usually have a manual activation. When you pull the cord, it activates the CO2 cylinder, which inflates the jacket. Or some of them are automatic. If they should hit the water, there's a tablet on the inside that disintegrates and activates the CO2 cartridge and automatically inflates it. So if someone were to be unconscious when they hit the water, the jacket would still inflate. They're not. They're fairly expensive. They're within the $100 range, but I always say to people in my boating safety courses, what's your life worth?
Exactly.
You know, so you spend $150 on a winter coat, why wouldn't you spend $100 on a life jacket?
Yep.
You know, it's just that type of analogy I use.
No, those are very interesting. I've never seen a style like that where it's actually more like a vest, you know.
Exactly.
And it's a little more comfortable. I'm sure they have a little more range of motion, and then when you need that safety precaution, it's there.
Exactly.
So
exactly. And there's all types of life jackets out there. So, but the inflatables, like I said, are getting so much more popular just because, like you said, you have to be able to move so much more. They're more comfortable on a warm day when the sun's out. You know, you don't have all this material around you. You just have it's basically like wearing a pair of suspenders, really.
Yeah.
And it's doesn't even go across your back. It's just hangs around your neck and around the front, and something most of the time you don't even know it's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
The patrol boat. You said, you know, you guys are out on the water from, you know, was it Memorial Day
to Labor Day.
Mm-hmm. Is it a 24-hour type of patrolling, or is it as a need basis?
As a need basis, we try to concentrate on you know, the high traffic times, and I said our officers are part-time people. They're not full-time people, but they're part-time certified law enforcement officers here in the state of Vermont, and quite a few of our officers are actually retired troopers that want to fill in some time during the summer, and they have enjoyed their careers, and they come back on and they work with us. I mean, most of the troopers are able to retire at a fairly young age. I say fairly young because I'm turning 60 this year, so they can retire at 50. So they're able to, you know, take on a part-time job, and of course continuing to wear a badge and carry a gun and be out there with the public is what they enjoy. So a lot of them have come back to work with us.
That's great,
which is a great asset for us, because you couldn't get more experienced people.
That's what I was about to say. Is they have all that experience.
They have all that experience.
Officer, so.
Exactly right. You know, and it's a win-win situation for everybody. You know, we don't have to train them up, and they're ready to go. You know, and most of them that come on like the water. I mean, you can imagine that they like to be out on the boat. So, and so most of them are all boat owners themselves. So it works out very well.
The experience, you can't beat it.
Yeah.
We'll stay out here on the dock as we wrap up with Jerry Johnson. Anything else you'd like to add for just to let boaters know, you know, when they're heading out in the water? I mean, even if you want to just express the importance of the boating safety class, because that seems like, or course, because it seems like that is, you know, that's like the main frame for
it is.
For all this,
it is
so.
the main frame. Absolutely. You know, the boating safety course. I even tell people that even if they don't have to have it, why wouldn't you have it? I can tell you that it's also a benefit for the individual that doesn't have to have it. If you're born before January 1st, 74, and your grandfather that don't have to have it, if you carry boat insurance on your boat, our course is nationally recognized. If you take your certificate once you graduate the course and send a copy on to your insurance carrier, most insurance carriers will give you a discount on your insurance premium for your boat insurance. So it's still a win-win situation for people. They're learning about the boating safety, and they're getting a discount on their insurance. I mean, it's that's why I say, why wouldn't you do it? It's a great idea, and a lot of the people that I do get that are grandfathered that don't have to have it but still take my course, they thoroughly enjoy it. I mean, I've always had positive comments from people, so it's just a good thing to do. And like I said, a lot of people aren't aware of that. I mean, we still are encountering people out in the water that aren't aware of the mandatory education. A lot of these people will buy a boat privately, not from a dealer, and they'll get out on the water, they'll encounter one of our law enforcement officers, and where's your boating safety certificate? And they go, what are you talking about? A lot of these people just assume that they don't have to have anything to be out in the water, but that's not true these days. I mean, you need to have some sort of education to be safe out here.
Is that like the boating certificate? Is it something like a registration? You keep it in your car. You keep it in your boat.
You keep it in. Yeah, you should keep it with you all. Absolutely, keep it with you all times. Absolutely, when you're out in the water. Yeah, it like I said, it acts like a license. Although we don't refer to it as. But if you go anywhere on the internet, you're going to see that people refer to it as a boating license, simply because that without it, you're not legally operating.
Gotcha.
But the law basically states it's a boating safety certificate.
Gotcha. And we want to reiterate, you don't have to be in person to take this course. You can take it online as well.
Absolutely. Online at our state police website is www.vsp.vermont, spell out the word Vermont.gov. Once you're on our website, look in the left-hand margin, click on Marine Division, and you will find our boating safety page where you will find the link to the online course. You will find our schedule of classroom courses that are held throughout the state, and also all a PDF version of our handbook. All the boating safety information is there, and if you still have questions, my name and number is there, and you can contact me at the office. I'm there 5 days a week, 8 to 4. Give me a call and be more than happy to help you. I get calls all season long from people. I even get calls about registration questions. You know, where they should be calling the Vermont Department of Motor Vehicles. They're the people that register boats, but they end up calling us, and believe me, I have an extensive education in registering and titling boats and things like that. So I usually, I provide them with the proper answers and tell them what they need to do to get their boat properly registered, or to properly, number their boat, or whatever else they have questions about. I can help them with. Absolutely.
Okay, so Jerry Johnson, thank you for joining us today, Education Coordinator, right, for VSP.
For the Vermont State Police Marine Division. Yes, Paul. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.